This is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
First of all, it's good to see you. Let's get a Hall of Fame perspective. So Kurt Warner zooms in here to the Extra Point Podcast. All right, you've been the backup quarterback that has led his team to the Super Bowl. Can Brock Purdy from Arizona lead the Niners to the Super Bowl as a third-string quarterback? What's it going to take to get it done in January?
Here's the thing, is that it's the ultimate team game. And I know we oftentimes hold up certain positions on a pedestal, of course, the quarterback position. But, you know, I played in 3 of these Super Bowls, and you realize that it takes everybody at different moments to make big plays. So I think he's surrounded by a really, really good team. And from what I've seen in a couple of weeks, I think he's capable of making enough plays to give this team a chance. So I don't think you count anybody out at this point, especially when they have a really solid team and they can win a lot of different ways. And the 49ers are definitely a team that can win a lot of different ways.
As far as your Arizona Cardinals go, there were some reports this weekend they might just have to tear the whole thing down and build it back up. Where do you start if you're Michael Bidwell and the Cardinals?
Well, I mean, I think you have to start, and we just talked about the quarterback position. You have to start with the quarterback position. You've got to convince yourself, tell yourself, you know, this is what we have at quarterback. This is where we're going to be. This is our franchise guy. And you have to believe that they think that with the contract that they gave Kyler Murray. So I think everything starts right there. Who is Kyler at this point in his career? What can he be? What do we need to surround him with? You know, those to me are the questions that you ask, because we've seen the incredible talent, but it just hasn't come to fruition and that consistency that I think they've been hoping for, and that we see from some other quarterbacks, you know, kind of in that same phase of their career. So that to me is where it starts, you know, is building around figuring out what his identity is, what he can be at this level, and then finding the pieces to surround him with guys that he can be successful with.
You were in a couple situations where you had to play out the string, but what can be gained from those moments as a player heading into next year if you're in a situation like the Cardinals are in right now?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, every game, every situation is something to build on. And you're building around the guys that are going to be here moving forward. I remember in 2007, you know, up and down year, but we won our last 2 games in 2007. And I believe that kind of catapulted us into the offseason and into the 2008 season when we ended up going to the Super Bowl. And so I think there's so much momentum, and I talk about identity, so much that you can, you know, you can figure out down the stretch with a team on who are those guys you want to build around, what can be your identity, and you want to try to do as much of that now so you can go into the off season and just build from there. So it's not like, you know, everything is lost in a season when it hasn't gone the way you wanted it to, and you're not going to be in the playoffs. But you have to guard against, you know, some things too, because it's easy when everybody wants to play in the Super Bowl and you get to the point where you're 4 or 5 games left and you're like, well, that's not going to happen. How do you focus in? What are your goals? How many pros do you have in the locker room? I think those are a lot of things that you look at this point in the season.
All right, and when your teams had gone to the Super Bowl, I see the Lombardi Trophy behind you. I don't know, is that the replica? Did Brenda weld that? How'd you get that?
No, that is a replica. They did not give me the original to hold in my house, but every one of the players on the Rams team got a replica of the Lombardi Trophy. And so, you know, you have that sitting around different places in the house, obviously a sense of pride if you could be the team that hoists that thing at the end. But that's a good point. You talk about Brenda. She could have welded me one. So maybe I should have her do that, and I'll have 10 or 11 of them just around the house in every room, no matter where anybody goes in. But yeah, she could have definitely pulled that off.
Okay, I think that's a whole Christmas shopping thing, Brenda. We could have her busy through the holidays. But back when you were playing through the holidays, how did you get ready as a competitor with the holidays, knowing the Super Bowl was on the horizon? How would you spend your holidays knowing you got to get ready for January football? Well,
I mean, you know, holidays is always going to be about family. That's first and foremost, whether that was when I was playing or since I've been done. You know, it's always surrounding family. But obviously with my background, and I've got a couple boys that play college football, you know, football is always a part of the holidays as well, especially as it's ramping up, whether it be in college football. My son's going to play in the Sugar Bowl here on New Year's Eve, or whether it's getting ready for the NFL playoffs or getting ready for the Super Bowl and everything that goes into that. You know, it's always fun because, you know, I started a tradition once I got done playing that I take my 2 boys and my dad to the Super Bowl every single year. And even though I'm calling it for Westwood One Radio now, we go and we have that experience. They sit in the stands, watch the game, which we did a number of times. NFL experience, something that my boys, always having the dream to play in the NFL. I mean, they want to run the 40. They want to get out there, with the football and show Dad that they're better than I am throwing the football and taking in all the festivities that go into that. And so, all that will be a part of it this year, especially with the fact that it is here in Arizona. And so, for me, it's just, if you're in this area, if you're coming out to the Super Bowl, you got to take in everything that is the Super Bowl. And I think that the Super Bowl experience is one of those things that you just kind of put yourself in those shoes of your favorite player and get a chance to experience it. So, I mean, our holidays will be surrounding football, the NFL playoffs, all the way up through the Super Bowl.
And there's a lot of talk about locals need to go down to the Super Bowl experience the first weekend. That's the time to go. Why get there early, and what are some of the things that you need to hit in the experience, like the 40 times?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is, once, as the week goes on leading up to the Super Bowl, Arizona will be infiltrated with people. And so more and more people every single day. And that's why it's so cool for, the locals is they can go down because the tickets are on sale now, but you can go down to the weekend before it gets too crazy and you get a chance to really experience everything that you want. And you said it, there's interactive games. You can run the 40, you can get your 40 times. There are places where you can pick up a football and, kind of throw to, to different spots and get scored on that. The Lombardi Trophy, the real Lombardi Trophy is down there, so you can get a picture with the Lombardi Trophy. There's all kinds of players, too. That's the cool thing is when you walk through the experience at any given moment, you have no idea who's going to be there. Signing autographs. You might get to run a 40 against one of the players. They do some great, interactive experiences there. I mean, it's just, if you come to the Super Bowl or you're in the Super Bowl city, it is something that you have to take part in. Tickets are on sale now, superbowl.com. You can get, all the information you want about Super Bowl, but /experience tickets. You can buy your tickets right now for those different days. But I just encourage everybody, if you're close to this thing, if you get a chance to come, take it all in, because the Super Bowl experience is so amazing in its completeness. And I think back to when I played in my first one to what the Super Bowl is now. It's unbelievable the experience that it has become, and the people that you see, and all the people that come in to enjoy this game in this moment. It's really awesome.
And I would imagine you'll be down in the Big Easy for the Sugar Bowl, and like to get a scouting report on that one, especially on number 84. And then you saw TCU up close and personal, so do you think Max Duggan has enough to get it done here in the Fiesta Bowl?
I hope so with TCU and Max. Max has been an incredible player, unbelievable year. See his toughness, the resiliency of that team. How many times they had to come back. I mean, Kansas State, I say we played them in the regular season, and we were up on them 28-10 in the regular season, and they fought their way back to get a win. Great game, in the Big 12 championship. But I like their team. I think they've got a lot of playmakers. I think they've got a lot of grit, and I hope they show up really, really well in the playoffs. Sugar Bowl, it's a great challenge for Kansas State, right? I mean, you win the championship and you do all the things that you want to do, and what's that get you? Well, you get to play on New Year's Eve against Alabama. A lot of people think maybe the best team that didn't get into the playoffs, but that's what it's all about. When you're playing at any level, you want to play against the best, and you want to gauge yourself against the best. So my son Cade is excited about the opportunity. He's going to come join us for a couple days around Christmas, and then he's going to get back to work and see what they're able to accomplish against Nick Saban and company.
Well, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to the entire Warner family. Thanks for spending time with us this morning.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS 5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.